Hello, this is Moses Wan, and welcome to part 6 of my MATLAB tutorial videos. In this video, I'm just going to show you an example of how to use functions and plot. So, in this example, we have a plastic bottle and a tank of water. In this tank, water constantly flows in and out at a constant rate, which will make the water level in this tank vary. So I've made an equation for the water level, which is here. And we want to plot the height difference between the height of where the plastic bottle is to the base of the tank. So let's say the water level is currently above 80 centimeters. So the water level will be around here. Since a plastic bottle floats in water, the plastic bottle will have the same height as the water level. However, once the water level sinks below 80 centimeters, the plastic bottle won't follow through the grate that we've made here. It will just stick onto the grate, which is at 80 centimeters. So how are we going to plot this? So first of all, we need a flowchart. A flowchart is a good way to organize your ideas before you go in and program whatever you're programming. It's always a good idea to sort out and organize what steps are you going to take to reach your result. So here's our flowchart. First of all, we are going to make a function, and this function will contain our wave equation, or water level equation. So in this function, I want to have two inputs. So two inputs. One input will contain the start time, and the second input will contain the end time. So basically these two are just which section of the graph we want to look at. So I want that to spit out two other outputs. Our time axis, so our time axis and our height axis. So our time axis will just pump out a whole bunch of values which has like our time in it, and our height values will just pump out a whole bunch of values which corresponds with the values inside the time axis. So our next step now is to plot. So with the time axis, we can just shove it into plot immediately. But with our height axis, we need to make sure that all the heights below 80 will equal 80, because remember, when the water level sinks below the grate, the water bottle doesn't follow the level of the water level, it'll just stay on the grate, which is at 80 centimeters. And then after that, we can finally plot it, and we've reached our objective. So let's start making this function. So first of all is the water level equation. So I've made it earlier, and I've called it the wave 26. So in this function, I've asked it to have an input of a start time and the end time, and this will make a whole row vector from start time till with increments of 0.001 all the way to the end time. So that will give us all our values between, let's say, one time to the other time. And then from this, it'll just evaluate. It'll go through this. Okay, so it'll just go through the wave equation and it'll spit out h. So the outputs of these equations will be t and h. T is our time axis we've made here, which is just a bunch of values between start t and end t. And h is the corresponding values to t, because we put t inside the wave equation. Okay, so now we've got that under control. Let's go to the rest of what we want. So here is just some basic housekeeping. Clear the screen, clear the variables, close all diagrams. So we want the user to input the starting time, and we're going to store that into variable tStart. And we want the user to input the end time, and we'll store that in the variable tEnd. So this function that we've created is going to spit out two values. So I'll just open this again. And so it's going to spit out two values, and we need to store them somewhere. So I've stored the first value into another variable called time axis. So anything which is t here, it will output to t here. Anything which is h here will output to h axis. And in this, we've just shoved the value into tStart as start t in here, and we've just shoved the value of tEnd into nt here. So it will just output, our t-axis and our h-axis. So now what I've asked it to do is change the values for h-axis, take all the values of h-axis which are below 80 and just make it equal 80 and plot. So it's basically exactly what I've shown you in this flowchart right here. So let's see if it works. So let's open this and run. So let's say, we'll say start time is 0 and the end time is, let's say, 64 hours. Okay, so there we have it. Starts at 100. The water level will rise up to here, and so will the plastic bottle. And then it drops back down, hits 80, but doesn't go below 80. Rises back up, follows the water level again, hits the grate, and then rises back up with water level, falls, hits the grate again, and so on and so forth. So there you have it, an example. I hope this is useful for all of you, and please send me a PM if you want me to go through anything in particular in MATLAB. Thank you.